Maybe you've left a conversation or a gathering and sensed a heaviness in your chest, as if you carried away emotions that weren't yours. Perhaps you sometimes sense someone's gaze or energy around you that leaves you unsettled, even though there was no obvious interaction. If this resonates, what follows may change how you understand and manage your own energy. This isn't about a fad charm or a quick fix ritual you buy off a shelf. It points to a simple strand of wisdom passed down through generations, a humble red thread tied on the left wrist. In many ancient teachings, that thread served not as decoration, but as a reminder and an energetic aid, a gentle boundary between your inner world and whatever tries to slip in. When used with true intention, it can become a powerful tool to help you stay centered, aware, and less vulnerable to absorbing stray energies. Seeing the body as more than the physical. Most of us grew up focused on the tangible, our bodies, our routines, the things we can see and touch. Yet, many traditions teach that beneath and around the visible is an energetic dimension that shapes how we feel, think, and interact. Imagine your body as a living temple of subtle currents and gateways. In that view, the left side often plays the role of receiving. It is more open to impressions, emotions, and influences from the outside. The right side, by contrast, naturally projects or expresses. When you accept this idea, whether literally or as a metaphor, you begin to notice moments when you feel overloaded by other people's moods, stray thoughts, unspoken tensions. Without a filter, your field is like an open door. Everything drifts in, and sometimes nothing drifts out. Over time, you might carry burdens that aren't yours. Worry, guilt, sadness, or even anxiety that started with someone else. The red thread as a simple boundary. Tying a red thread around the left wrist has appeared in various cultures. From branches of Kabbalistic practice to hidden Hermetic circles, and in rites in ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, and certain Hindu traditions. The common idea was not that the thread itself is magical in isolation, but that it serves as a seal or vibrational marker. Red, the color of life, and fire symbolized purification, strength, and consecration. The thread, a humble piece of wool or string, represented continuity, a line of intention woven around your energy field. Viewed this way, the thread marks a threshold. It says, "Here is the border of my inner space. I choose what to let in." More than blocking everything, it invites you to recognize your own role, awareness over passivity. It does not harden you against empathy or compassion. Rather, it helps you channel them consciously, without losing yourself in others' unfiltered emotion. Intention, the true source of power. Without intention, a thread is just a string. The real effectiveness lies in how you tie it, what you feel and declare at that moment, and how you honor it afterward. Before placing it on your wrist, pause and reflect. What part of me feels vulnerable? Which energies do I want to filter? What inner state am I claiming? If you tie it casually or from fear alone, it may become meaningless or even counterproductive. Ancient teachers warned that a symbol without soul is an empty shell. In a simple ritual, you might light a small candle or take a few steady breaths. Visualize a sphere of light around your left arm. As you wrap the thread, speak, silently or softly, a dedication. With this thread, I seal my energy field. Only what aligns with my highest good may enter. This dedication is the spark that animates the symbol. From that moment on, each glance at the thread can anchor you back to awareness, feeling and testing your field. After tying the thread, notice subtle signals from your body. You might feel a gentle warmth or a light tingle in your wrist or chest. These sensations can indicate that you've activated your own focus on this boundary. If the thread irritates your skin unexpectedly, or if it loosens or breaks soon after, consider that as feedback. Perhaps the energy cycle for this intention is complete. Or maybe you need a different form of support at this time. It's normal if at first you don't feel anything dramatic. Energetic shifts can be subtle. Over days or weeks, the thread can serve as a reminder to check in. Am I reacting mindlessly to external stress? Am I carrying someone else's upset? Each time you notice it, gently return to your inner center. The thread then functions less like a shield and more like a prompt. Pause, breathe, and choose what you accept into your space. Renewing cycles and letting go, sacred symbol, is meant to be worn indefinitely until it disintegrates without thought. When the thread begins to fray or break, it's a natural sign that the energetic cycle tied to that intention has run its course. Rather than ignoring or discarding it casually, you can close the cycle consciously. Give thanks for what it taught you. Release it with respect. For example, returning it to the earth, or burning it safely with a quiet word of gratitude. If you feel called to renew the practice, you may tie a fresh thread, again pausing to clarify your purpose. This cycle reflects a broader insight. Boundaries and intentions are living processes, not one-time fixes. Sometimes you need a firmer boundary, sometimes a softer one. Sometimes a different ritual or self-care practice is more fitting. The red thread can be one part of an evolving approach to caring for your energy. Integrating real-life boundaries. The red thread does not replace everyday choices like saying no, stepping away from draining situations, or tending to rest and solitude. Instead, it can support these actions. When you feel the thread on your wrist, let it remind you to honor your limits, to decline invitations that exhaust you, to set aside quiet time, to protect your attention from endless distractions. Over time, you learn that energy protection is not passive hiding. It is a form of self-respect. Wearing the thread without backing it up through conscious decisions would be like carrying an umbrella, but never opening it when it rains. The symbol guides you, but the practical steps reinforce and deepen its effect. Avoiding common pitfalls. One trap is to believe that the symbol alone will guard you, so you neglect inner work. If you tie the thread out of anger, worry, or revenge, you risk charging it with negativity. Instead of filtering unwanted energies, it may amplify patterns you meant to release. Before each tying, clear your mind as best you can. Let go of reactive emotions. Focus on genuine care for your well-being. Another pitfall is attachment to the object. Obsessing over the thread, or feeling lost if it's removed. Remember, the true amulet is your own awareness. The thread points you back to your center, but is not the source of your strength. honoring your sensitivity. If you identify as sensitive or empathic, you may especially benefit from this practice. Empaths often feel others' feelings as if they were their own. Unfiltered, this leads to overwhelm. The red thread reminds you that feeling deeply and preserving boundaries are not contradictory. You can honor empathy by noticing feelings that arise, but you don't have to treat them as personal burdens. When you sense heaviness, glance at the thread, breathe, and ask, is this mine to carry? Does it serve my growth? Over time, this habit cultivates discernment. You learn to stay open-hearted, yet not open-ended to everything. A deeper promise to yourself: be beyond protection. The thread symbolizes a promise to treat your energy field with the same care you give your body or mind. It whispers each time you see it, remember who you are. This can shift how you approach daily life. You become less prone to unconscious reactions, more likely to pause before absorbing stress from news, social media, or tense relationships. This conscious edge reshapes your mental clarity, emotional balance, even your relationships. When you show up from a grounded place, interactions change naturally. You no longer act from a reservoir, cluttered by others' leftovers, but from your own center. Simple ritual steps. Set an intention. Find a quiet moment. Close your eyes. Breathe. Ask yourself, what am I claiming? What energy do I wish to welcome or keep at bay? Consecrate the thread. Light a candle if you like, or simply hold the red string in your hands. Visualize a gentle light encircling your left arm. Tie with awareness. Wrap the thread around the left wrist, making a few knots. As you tie, softly affirm your intention. This thread marks my boundary. Only what nourishes my spirit may enter. Observe sensations. Notice any warmth, tingling, calm wave, or neutrality. If irritation arises, reflect on whether the thread cycle is complete or needs a different approach. Use it as a reminder. Each time you see or touch the thread, take a brief pause, check your energy, adjust your attention, reinforce your boundary in thought or breath. Release consciously. When the thread frays, thank it. Let it go with respect. Decide whether to renew or explore another practice that suits your current state. These steps are not rigid rules, but gentle guidelines. Adapt them according to your beliefs and lifestyle. The core is presence. Tying the thread becomes an act of waking up to your own energetic sovereignty. Living beyond symbols. The red thread practice is not about collecting talismans or lining up objects around you. Its purpose is to help you develop inner clarity so that you need fewer external props over time. As you strengthen your awareness, you may find other supportive habits. Simple breathing practices, mindful pauses, journaling emotions, or conscious detachment from unhelpful influences. The thread can stay or be set aside. It points you toward your inner work, not away from it. Embracing responsibility. Wearing the thread invites responsibility for your energy. You admit that you have a role in what you absorb and what you project. This can feel empowering, but also humbling. It reminds you there is no permanent shield unless you maintain vigil over your own habits and thoughts. True protection lies in ongoing awareness. Noticing when you slip into reactive patterns, reclaiming your center when life tosses unexpected waves at you. When the thread isn't enough, some moments call for more than a symbolic boundary. If you face persistent stress, unresolved trauma, or chronic overwhelm, consider seeking supportive practices alongside the thread: therapy, breathwork, movement, creative expression, or guidance from a trusted mentor. The red thread can coexist with these deeper modalities, a humble reminder that you value your inner landscape, but not a substitute for genuine healing work. Cultivating a balanced view. It's easy to swing between extremes, wanting total invulnerability or fearing that you must shut down sensitivity completely. The red thread practice teaches a middle way. You remain open enough to feel life's richness, yet anchored enough not to be swept off course by every stray impulse. It helps you remember that strength and vulnerability can coexist. You can feel deeply without being swallowed by what you feel. The ripple effect. When you care for your energy, it changes more than your own experience. Others around you pick up on subtle shifts. Your steadiness can calm anxious people. Your clarity can inspire honest conversation. Your grounded presence can invite trust. By tending your field, you also contribute a more balanced energy to your relationships, community, and the wider world. The red thread, then, is not just a personal accessory, but a symbol of collective awakening. As more people honor their boundaries and sensitivities, the collective field becomes less chaotic and more coherent. A daily check-in. Over time, this practice can become a gentle habit. Glancing at the red thread when you wake, before a meeting, after social media scroll, or when you feel emotional heaviness. Each glance asks, what energy am I carrying? What do I choose now? These micro pauses anchor you repeatedly in awareness. Gradually, you rely less on the visual cue and more on an internal sense of where your boundaries lie. But for many, the thread remains a helpful prompt, especially in busy or challenging periods. Stories of subtle shifts. People often report small but meaningful changes. Fewer nights waking up anxious, greater ease in saying no, deeper enjoyment in simple pleasures, because they aren't clouded by outside noise. Some find that creative inspiration flows more freely once they stop carrying invisible burdens. Others notice improved physical well-being, less tension in the shoulders, or better sleep when they learn to release others' worries rather than holding them unconsciously. These shifts rarely happen overnight, but over weeks or months of gentle practice, the cumulative effect can feel transformative. Invitation to begin. If this idea resonates, you don't need special tools or training. Find a soft red string or thread, something simple. Make space for a brief moment of calm. Reflect on what you want to honor or protect within yourself. Tie the thread on your left wrist with that thought. Then notice over the coming days if you feel more alert to your own boundaries, more able to pause when external energies rise. Each person's journey differs. Adjust as you go. Release when it's time. Renew when you feel drawn to. The key is to stay connected with your inner intention, not treat it as a fashion piece. Why this matters now, in our era of constant stimulation, notifications, news cycles, social demands, it's easy to lose track of where your energy ends and others begin. The red thread practice is a humble, ancient reminder. You have a say in what you carry. It's less about fear of the world and more about choosing awareness. It asks you to acknowledge yourself as a living temple, worthy of care and respect. By weaving this simple ritual into your life, you cultivate a habit of checking in with your center, reclaiming clarity when distractions arise. A final reflection: symbols alone do not change our lives. But when a symbol sparks inner focus, it can light a path. The red thread on your left wrist is not a guarantee against every challenge, nor a magic shield that makes you invincible. Instead, it is an invitation to notice, to choose, to honor. Each time you brush against it, let it remind you, I decide what enters my space. I care for my energy as I care for my body and mind. Over time, this inner discipline can reshape how you relate to the world. Less reactive, more centered, more authentic. Will you let your energy drift unchecked, or will you begin a small but meaningful practice to honor your boundaries? If the idea touches something in you, try the red thread ritual. Observe how it influences your awareness, and use that insight to guide further steps in caring for yourself. Share this with others who might benefit, not as a fashionable trend, but as a gentle reminder of inner sovereignty. Your field is sacred. Your sensitivity is a gift. Through this simple gesture, you reclaim the right to choose what nourishes you, and in doing so, you support a more balanced world around you.